Welcome to the DevReady Podcast, everyone. Today we have Santiago, the director of NTT DATA. He's based out in Chile, and he's the head of Conversation AI, and otherwise known as EVA, as the product. We've got Santiago on today to have a chat and discuss what they're working on with AI and conversational AI, and just understanding ChatGPT and what's possible in business space, since they've put some considerable effort behind it, and it looks like they've got some cool stuff happening. Welcome aboard, Santiago.
Nice to talk with you, Anthony. It's a great pleasure to be here in your program and your podcast. Thank you to invite me.
Thank you. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at NTT Data, and then we can take it from there.
Great. I'm passionate about technology and how technology can help people to improve their lives. And that's why I'm working in one of the leader IT consultancy companies in the world, that is NTT Data, and my role is focusing how can we use the artificial intelligence to improve the communication between a brand and their customers. For several years, we are helping many different brands and companies to improve their customer services and other internal processes, thanks to the artificial intelligence.
Now, on some of the services you were providing earlier, was that more machine learning driven, or was it prior to ChatGPT, I'm assuming? So there was a lot more effort involved probably in deploying a solution, I would imagine.
Yes, we use all the technologies available in any moment. For several years, we are used intensively the natural language processing that is based in language models that uses machine learning behind, and also those models uses transformers like models like BERT, Roberta, and other models. And once the large language models came into the play, we started using like GPT-3 3 years ago, and for sure the ChatGPT launch in December that surprised all of us. It was a great news for everybody because it opened a new way to make better communications between a brand or a company or an organization and their users or their clients and customers.
So you mentioned earlier that it's focusing really on customer service and how to improve communications between the brand and their customers or their stakeholders effectively. What sort of ways were you introducing AI into that channel, in the customer service channel? Is it more like support, chat agents, or how have you been deploying this, and what sort of benefits have the businesses had?
Well, we use in different ways. The most visual and the most simple to explain is the automation of the communications through channels like instant message apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, social network, or Facebook Messenger. Also, chats embedded in websites or embedded in mobile apps. And we additionally automate the phone calls in the call centers that are, everybody has suffered in some way how bad can be to interact with a old contact center where you have to press buttons several times until you finally catch some agent that can attend you. This is it's very, probably everybody has a bad experience with a bank or a telecom company or with an airline. And this is the focus for us to help those brands to improve. And this is good for the final users and clients, and also is good for the companies that they can interact better with their users.
So you may be behind the change or the software that's tell me what your problem is, and you say it, and then they then try and find the right agent or department to work with and pass that query on.
And the good news here is that thanks to technologies like ChatGPT and other language models, the quality and the experience, it's increasing more and more and more. And the dream to have perfect customer service is more close now. Of course, behind there are a lot of complexity because it's not so simple to provide this kind of experience. But this is a new step, no, in the good direction. And you asked me in the question also how we are using the generative AI and the ChatGPT models in the business today, because everybody or it's possible that you have interacted with ChatGPT and you discover that sometimes the answers are not accurate, or we can find hallucinations, when sometimes it invent things. This is a big concern, for a brand. Can I open a door to my customers and lose the control when I generate answers? And the good news is that there are different mechanisms to control and reduce the risk to have a bad answer or a not appropriate answer. And now we are capable to provide accuracies near 100% that 6 months ago was almost impossible because the previous technology was not so good that this new technology.
Yep. What are some? I've been looking at it at a technical level and what's possible. So, from my understanding, is there's two methods to improve the accuracy of the models. You can take a base model like ChatGPT or the Azure one or one of the open source models, and you can create embeddings. So, for everyone listening, embeddings are taking a document or a source text, breaking it up into little chunks of information, and then storing that in a database with a mathematical representation of that text and how similar it is to text surrounding it. And then there's fine tuning, which is when I say, when I say X, I want you to respond with Y. So you're teaching it on how to educate. Are they the two ways that a businesses can improve that hallucinations and inaccuracies, or are there other things?
Well, there are other techniques, but of course, embeddings, fine-tuning, and also prompt engineer are three very important tools that we definitely we use. And I will start with the prompt engineering. Generate the right prompt is not so easy, not so simple. And one of the things we discover is that if you try to request so much complexity or so many different tasks to the model with a single prompt, it's possible that the result is not so good. Then one of the things we have learned is to split the problem in pieces and use different prompts for different purpose. Another technique, as you mentioned, is the use of embeddings. The embeddings allows you to feed the model with much more information because you can generate those vectors with the documents or a lot of information in smaller size, and it helps to have better answers. Now, for example, I will provide a specific example. No, we are working with a beauty company with a cosmetic and beauty brand, very popular. It's public. You can see on our website we are working with L'Oreal, and they have a lot of products, and we use those embeddings to teach the model the different products we have and how we can interact with them. And thanks to this approach, we can generate very accurate recommendations for the final users. It's impressive because we don't have to imagine all the possible scenarios because the model is so advanced that can adjust the answer depending on the situation. I will provide you an example, clear example. Imagine that you have something in your face and you have an interview, job interview next day, and you are wondering, how can I solve this problem? you can make this exact question to our solution, and it's capable to generate an answer, giving you step by step what you have to do, and explaining the products you will need, and recommending the L'Oreal products and not other products. And this is incredible because this changed completely the way we buy things. Instead of think in the product, we can think in the problem. Imagine that you need to, something that we have to do every week to buy products for your kitchen, not to food, not for food. And now you think, okay, I need spaghetti and also I need tomato. But instead of this approach, we are now working with brands that they are moving in another direction. That is, okay, this weekend I will have a meal with 10 people and I will prepare a paella, Spanish paella. And please give me the ingredients that I need. And prepare and we can generate the shopping cart in only 2 interactions. And then later the user can tell the model, okay, please remove this because I have rice at my house. I don't need it. Or please, I also needed some dessert included. And this is a different way to interact with with a supermarket, for example. And there are a lot of examples that how can we change the way we communicate with brands.
So to give a little bit more probably context for some of the listeners, on that example with L'Oreal where you say I have an issue on my skin, how can I solve it, and it gives recommendations. Is the data that was used in the embeddings, was that the product, a description on the product, ingredients, purpose, what it solves, and then all of that comes together?
There are some secrets, but I can tell you that we use one of the keys to use the products in the embeddings, but there are additional helps.
Okay.
That additional.
Yeah, because I think a lot of businesses don't know how or what's possible. So if they, okay, so that's one thing, but then there's other secret sauce on top that connects things together and makes it all work. All right, completely understand.
Yes, because there are many. So one of the things that I recommend if someone wants to try this is to, before go to production, it's very important to try and find the holes. And there is something, and there is a new job that is prompt hacking. That is very important now in any organization because those models are so extended and are prepared to answer everything. And then to be safe when you go to production, you need to make a lot of tests before with bad intention because for sure outside you'll find people with not good intentions when you interact with your system. But
that makes sense.
But
because anything, you can say anything, so you have to probably guide it and understand your prompt correctly to try and restrict what it's capable of talking about.
Indeed.
Yeah. And you said earlier, so when ChatGPT came out in December, that actually surprised you. Was that known that something like that was happening, or is it more surprising that it's so advanced and the way you can interact with it in a chat way has changed how you sort of approach what a business can do with this in this space?
So we were dealing and testing GPT-3. I recognize that for me, GPT-3 was a big surprise in May 2020. But at the same time, when we tried to apply to the industry, we discovered a lot of problems with the first version of GPT-3 because they had a very erratic behavior and they give answers very not adequate, not good answers. And when ChatGPT was released, yes, I was quite surprised with the level that the system arrives. And I was even more surprised when I go deep in the understanding of how those models were built. Because, probably, Anthony, maybe you know how was this model created, or
a little bit, not too much.
But I will say something that is not 100% perfect, but I will try to simplify and to express the process. No, that is for sure is much more complex. No, but to simplify, it seems that the OpenAI team, they took 74 terabytes of data, text data, open data that is available on the network, or books, scientific papers, or conversations in Twitter, things like that.
Yes, Reddit and Wikipedia and things like that as well.
Wikipedia and many different sources in order to make some balance in the training. Then they reduce and they post-process those 74 terabytes of text. They reduce until less than a terabyte, because at the end there are, if you analyze the humanity text, there are many things that are duplicated or things like that. And with this less than a terabyte, they combine with a transformer that is it came from a paper written by the Google engineers. All you need is attention. It's a paper published, I think, in 2017 or 2018. And the good thing here is that they discover a method to reach the self-training, or the training non-supervised, because one of the big problems of the machine learning was that you need someone correcting the system. That, for example, if you are training something to recognize image, and you say an A, B, there is a
you're validating
person,
the output.
You need someone in the loop, a person in the loop that consume time and slow the process. But the technique they use is very simple. They take a sentence, for example, I was a dream. No, everybody. If I say this sentence, probably you are imagining the next word, no, because you hear this sentence many times, no, from Martin Luther King. No, I was a dream. Okay, they teach the system with a sentence from those terabytes. They remove one of the last word, and this is an automatic process, because a machine can do this, to remove one word, pass through the model, and then verify if the answer is correct or not, and adjust the parameters to reach the learning, not to generate the learning. And the incredible thing is that only doing this to trying to predict the next word, a lot of capabilities emerge. And this is like magic, because for probably if you ask 10 people in the street and you ask them how ChatGPT was created, it's possible that 50% or even more, they probably believe that there are super engineers writing code to no, it's not like that.
I would say 90% of people probably think that, or it's magic.
Yes, probably it's possible. But no engineers, any engineers have decided or programmed that ChatGPT, the model behind ChatGPT that is GPT-4 or GPT 3.5, how to translate English to French. And this capability emerge when you reach and you increase the number of parameters, and you use the enough amount of data, of balanced data and data with good quality. You have those results, and this is impressive because And it's a little bit scary at the same time because spontaneously, a lot of capabilities like arithmetic, capability to summarize, to understand the grammar, or follow the context of a conversation, or translate, those capabilities emerge. And the big question is that if those capabilities emerge, are other capabilities that we didn't know that are also emerging? This is a little bit scary question, no? Because
so there may be more functionality within ChatGPT that we haven't discovered yet, potentially, because we haven't asked the right question.
It's possible. And it's possible that it reaches capabilities, superhuman capabilities that we didn't even know that exist, and we can detect capabilities. And this is only the beginning, because ChatGPT is only the peak of the iceberg. There are a lot of models behind. I don't know if probably you are aware, but there are hundreds of models, like large language models.
Yep.
And
I've
every day,
tested a couple.
Every week, new models. This week, Open Finance large language model was released. 2 weeks ago, Facebook, the Meta engineers, they released another model that is quite impressive because they mix not only text but also image, but additionally video, but additionally deep maps, and also inertial maps, and additionally temper heat maps, and all together, and they created something new that is capable to you can, for example, you can prompt an audio from a dog, and the result can be a video of a dog inside of a room, because the sound is recorded inside the room, and the system detects that and is understand that the dog is a dog, but inside a room. There are crazy things. No, this is only the beginning.
Is that Open Llama? Is that one, or is it another model?
No, it's ImageBind from Meta. And also you have Llama, and there are many models. And I say that the genius is out of the battle, because the system is public, and many scientists know how to do that, and the computing capability is also available to anyone in the cloud, and with some dollars or some thousands of dollars,
hundreds of thousands,
but not so much. The other day they published a model that was generated with $200,000. That is okay, it's a lot of money, but there are many people that can join $200,000. Yes, and it's at the same time it's. So I'm divided, between the emotion to see how fast is progressing everything and how it's accelerating everything, and at the same time a little bit of worried about, okay, this can go out of control, and we need to be cautious and take some measures. No?
I share that sentiment. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what's possible and where it can go. Like I said, it's just predicting the next word. It's nothing amazing when you say that, but what that provides is all those different features that you discussed. So that's amazing what it can do, from writing code to writing a poem to writing content to summarizing and translating and doing all these things. But then if you use just ChatGPT as the main example, they've got, from what I've been reading online, a lot of people reviewing output and marking things off as against their terms, like how people have in Facebook where they monitor images and content for hate speech and things like that. So then that doesn't come out in the model. But all these open source models, there's no restriction. Everything's available, so it just depends on who wants to use it. I think it's going to be the big problem will happen, I believe, will be when the elections happen in America, probably, for the next president, and then all of the fake news that will be coming out with fake videos and fake audio, fake posts everywhere. You won't be able to keep up.
For me, this is the most scary and the big risk that we face today. And I think that everybody must be aware that we are now in our present has changed, and we can trust image, we can trust video, we can trust audio, and this is hard because we depend a lot on the digital channels, and the problem is that those digital channels that we depend on, you can trust on them because any image you see can be fake. Any audio can be a fake. And when you receive a video from someone, now it's possible that it's 100% fake, and it's impossible for a human to detect that it's not real. And the problem with that is that without the information, democracy is very complex. To have a real democracy is almost impossible because if the people don't have the real information and what is happening in real, it's very complex. The society is a great danger regarding.
I think you'll be able to believe what you want to believe and find more of that information that reinforces it a lot easier. So you'll be in more of a bubble, more of an isolated bubble than before.
And these radicalize people, and this is a big problem because
I think, like with all the fake content, effectively, before Photoshop, everyone had to use Photoshop. But there was ways to detect when things weren't real in Photoshop because of your layering images and merging things together, and there's artifacts. The new images, there's no artifacts because they're created from scratch with the modification.
Yes,
so there's
pixel by
another
pixel.
level. There's another level of things that have to happen.
Yes, and I don't know. I think that the society has to think about this issue, and we need solutions. And I dedicated a few time to trying to find possible solutions, and it is not so easy.
No,
because one option could be we will regulate it that all the real cameras will be generated some kind of code or track that was impossible to hack. Well, this is not possible. No, everything is possible.
Yeah, it'll have to be quantum computing at some level to build something that can happen, but otherwise everything can be faked until that point.
But and this can be a possible solution that you can verify if the image was really taken by a specific, by a real camera and not altered. Okay, maybe we have to go in that direction. But I think it's not enough. I think the most important thing is that society and all individuals, everybody, assume that we are vulnerable to be manipulated with images, videos, or audios.
Yep, completely agree. So, if we leave the sort of the negative and the potential bad side, what else are you sort of looking forward to? So at NTT, I'm sure you've got a long roadmap and you're thinking about what's possible. Without saying too much that you can't say, what else is there or what other applications for AI do you think that businesses could leverage and move forward with in the coming years, or what sort of direction do you see it going in?
Okay, I think that we will see how the companies become much more efficient because there are many processes that today take time and requires a lot of process, and those will be accelerated, and this will be quite good for the users, for the consumers, and also for the companies because they will be much more efficient. And the point here is that the companies that didn't take this wave, they will left behind and they will have problems in the near future. So it's quite important to start studying all the places in your organization where you can benefit from this new technology. Because at the same time, there is an impact on the organization, but also a huge impact in our way to work. So any of us can change the way we work. Well, probably you already do, or you already did. I already did. I use those tools in the way I think is good way to make my job more efficient, to accelerate the way I generate results, and to give those results more quality. And it's possible. And there are many tools to from generate a PowerPoint in a different way, to generate text, generate image, generate videos, or generate ideas. No, it's also interesting. And then I think that the companies and also the job of the people will change quite fast in the next years, and this will also create companies and people that take the benefit of these technologies and they will succeed, and people that react or rejected those technologies, and probably they will have more difficulties in the future, because it's an incredible disadvantage to doesn't embrace those tools and technologies.
It'll probably be similar to what the dot-com boom was. I was a bit young for that, but everyone jumped on the internet. The ones that didn't died. The ones that had an idea and were overinflated and couldn't deliver anything died away, and then only the real ones that were left behind, like Amazon or whoever else was from that time, succeeded because they used it properly. I think it's going to be a similar thing. There'll be businesses that don't understand it and will like hide their head and ignore it. They'll get left behind. There'll be businesses that are just adding AI into their name to try and raise money and become a startup and part of another bubble. A lot of those will end up folding as well. Then there'll be businesses who are leveraging it, like you said, for efficiencies, and they will either introduce, you can get more work done and make more money in the same time, or maybe that's how the 4-day work week can come through to everyone. Everyone's got a little bit more time because they can do the same work in less. There'll be different ways to sort of approach it.
For example, I recommend companies with middle size or big size to start thinking about the possibility to create a new role that is the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer, dedicated to analyze, use, and guarantee that the artificial intelligence is deployed everywhere in the organizations, because you can change any job, internal job, any process can be improved. Combining the text generation, image processing, image generation, video generation, it's almost everything is impacted. And it's difficult to see all the possibilities. When we sit with a client, one of the things we like to do is to make brainstormings and workshops with our methodology, advanced methodology, to try to identify the good use cases and possible ways to apply the technology. And it's incredible. Each workshop, you discover new things, because only the people that is making a specific work can identify, any people can identify new use cases or new ways to take benefit of this technology. And
with sorry, sort of that process there where you have workshops and you're understanding which process, what the processes are and all the individual steps, do you find that you need to be on top of almost everything that's happening in the space to understand which AI tool is the right one to use in that process? Or is it more just because you know what ChatGPT is capable of, we could do part of this using that process rather than trying to find a tool?
Well, it's a good question. So trying to be informed about everything is today, I think, is a battle impossible to win. Because everything is happening so fast at the same time that, yes, I think that, well, I don't know how is this. I'm sorry, I don't know how
that's
the best counsel. But
how are you keeping up with the information? Then I'll ask it that way.
For me, what I recommend is to find good sources of information, because there is a lot of noise also. And there are many people talking about this, and there are people that they didn't go deep in the bone of the science behind. And okay, you can lose time if you listen something that is not accurate. And my recommendation is try to find the most accurate source information. I try to read papers that, okay, I understand that it's very complex sometimes for most people, that it's hard to read those papers. There are other sources that there are teams that are working and making very good improvements. For example, I strongly recommend to follow OpenAI, DeepMind, that some teams inside Meta also that are doing quite a good job. And there are many teams, no? And on the other side, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and new startups that is much more complex to understand and follow them, because it's not so easy, to finding them and understanding the business model behind and the quality of the solution. It's not so simple. But of course, it's interesting to have an eye open and test so what I do is when I learn something or I hear one tool that is interesting for me, I test, and if it works, I start using.
Yeah, we did a similar thing with our podcast. So we've got Adobe's Premiere's there's a new editing tool that's called Autopod, AI driven. It can automatically edit the podcast for you.
Wow.
So it cuts the gaps out. When you're speaking, you'll be brought forward. When I'm speaking, I'll be brought forward in video, and it does all the multi-track editing.
Wow.
1 minute edit now to get the audio, and then we have to review it. So there's still a process there until we find another tool that can review the podcast. But follow the same thing. It's find a tool, test it. If it works, then use it and gain the benefit.
Totally agree.
Well, Santiago, it's been a very good chat. Plenty of information here for people who have been listening. If anyone wants to reach out to you, I guess they can reach out to you on LinkedIn. Is there anywhere else or any other way for anyone to get in touch?
Yes, of course. If someone want to contact me, I'm in LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Santiago Santa María. Sorry, it's a little bit long. And yes, I'm happy to answer possible questions or help other people if I can. Okay,
not a problem. We'll share the link out when we put the episode out as well. All right, once again, thank you, Santiago, and it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Anthony, and congratulations about your program. Thank you. Quite good.